Yeah, in the past video we have covered Employee Provident Fund Act of 1952. In this present video we will be covering other two acts that are important for examination. The first act is Employees Pension Scheme of 1995. Employees Pension Scheme of 1995. The scheme can help employees with long years of service receive a modest but guaranteed pension. It will allow you to get the pension at the retirement age throughout their retired life, that is after the age of 58 or 60 plus. Okay. All organized sector employees in India who are enrolled with Employees Provident Fund organization automatically become members of the Employees Pension Scheme as well. That means who are the member of EPFO, Employee Provident Fund organization, will automatically become the member of Employees Pension Scheme. Okay. While employees contributing 12% goes entirely to EPF account. That is, if at all I am an employer at your organization and you are an employee, the contribution 12% that you are making and the contribution that 12% I am making, it will go to different accounts, whereas the 12% of mine will completely go to Employee Provident Fund organization, which gives you a lump sum on retirement. Okay, whereas 8.3% of your employer's contribution, that is 8.3% of yours out of 12%, 8.33% of what as a boss you are contributing goes into employee pension scheme. That is, it will go into this act, that is employee pension scheme, to fund your pension payouts post retirement. That is, after retirement I will get the amount, that is 8.33%, that is going from yours 12% contribution. 12%, 8.33% will go to employee pension fund. Okay, from this 8.33% employee pension fund, I will get retirement amount, right? The government also adds 1.16% of your pay to the employee pension scheme kitty every month. That is, every month 8.33% of your contribution. That is, if at all you are a boss and you have hired a person, you have to contribute 12%. Out of that 8%, 8.33% plus 1.16% will go to my EPS, that is employee pension scheme. Then this employee pension scheme fund will get as a retirement amount for me, or it will get as a pension at the age of retirement for me. The maximum pay on which the employee pension scheme to accept employers is 15,000 per month. It is capped at 1,250 per month, that is 8.33% of 15,000. Right? If at all you are unable to understand this sentence, pause the video and reread the video. Next. The next act we are going to see is Employee Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme of 1976. Employees Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme of 1976. Also do remember the years on which the act has been came into force, because these years may be asked in the chronological order. You need to write from chronology, that is 1952, 1995, 1976. This will come up and this will come down. Okay, in this order you need to remember it in chronological order. Next, Employees Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme of 1976. The scheme established the purpose of providing life insurance. Okay, it will provide a life insurance benefits to the employees. Now, there may be a simple question, which scheme provides the life insurance benefits for the employees? It is nothing but Employees Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme of 1976. Employees Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme of 1976. The benefit under the scheme is to provide the incentive to the members to save more in the Provident Fund account. What is the benefit? From this benefit, they can save more in the Provident Fund account, PF account. The benefit under the scheme is linked to the amount of accumulation in the Provident Fund account of the member. All the members of the Employees Provident Funds scheme are covered as members of the Employees Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme also. That means if at all I am a member of EPF, then I am also directly, that means without enrolling, I am covered under Employee Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme. Okay, I am covered under Employee Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme. Okay, this is very simple. We can see it in the chart. Just imagine there is a 12% that you are contributing. Where it is going? It is completely going to your EPF account. This is the contribution of me because I am employee. I am working in your organization and my 12% is going completely to my EPF account. Right. Now we will see what will happen to the 12% that as a boss you are contributing. In this 12% that you are contributing, that is boss, in this 12%, it will go 8.33% to my pension account. Just imagine it will go, just think that it is going to pension account. Then the remaining 2 point something percent will go to my EPF account. Okay, fine. Now hope you have understood this difference. And it is very important from the examination point of view. Although they will not ask the numbers, but remembering the number is important. Now we have seen the three main important acts. If at all you are not watched the previous video, do watch because you may directly get 2 to 3 questions from that act. And these two acts are also very important. Now we will see how the administration is done on these acts or how the administration of these acts is carried out. Administration of this scheme given under this act is done by the central board. Who constitutes central board? It is constituted by central government. Okay. Administration of the scheme under this act is done by the central board or state board, that is it is done by state government, or regional committee or a chief executive committee appointed and constituted by central government. That means all the boards that are mentioned here are appointed as well as constituted by the central government, not the state government. Do remember it is done by central government and not the state government. Now, who all constitute central board? The fund shall vest in and be administered by the central board constituted under the section 5A. Central board is created by official gazetted notification given by the central government. That means it is notified in the Gazette. What is Gazette? It is nothing but a list of document which will prove that it has been constituted by the central government. And there is a file which is mentioned as Gazette, in which all the names of the gazetted officers, all the names of the constituted bodies are all mentioned in that list. Next, what are the functions of this central board? What does the central board that is constituted do? Functions. All matters regarding administration of the scheme, such as progress of recovery of PF, contribution and other charges, speedy disposal of prosecution, settlement of claims and sanctions of advances. These are all looked upon by the central board. Section 6 and Section 6C discussion how the central board should use their fund vested on them. That is, these sections will deal with how the board that is constituted should use the fund that has been given to it. Duty of the central board is to send an annual report to the central government of its work and activities. Do remember, there may be a direct question. The central board will send its annual report to whom? It will send its annual report to central government, but not to the president. It will send its report to the central government. Next, the central government will submit a report to the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. See, the central board or will not directly submit its report to CAG. Okay, CAG. That is Comptroller and Auditor General of India. But it will submit the report to central government. Then central government will submit this report to CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, because he audits what has been happened. Then, how the constitution of the following central body or central board is done? Chairman and vice chairman appointed by the central government. There will be a chairman, there will be a vice chairman. The Central Provident Fund Commissioner, ex official. Among central government officials, not more than 5%. A representative of states, not more than 50. Represented the employer of the establishment, 10 people. Representing the employee of the establishments, there will be 10 people. Okay, then there will be executive committee. What is executive committee? This will nothing but it will execute the act. It will execute the provisions of the act. If you want, you can read these handouts. The PDF will be provided in the Telegram group. You can join the Telegram. The description is provided in the link. Sorry, the link is provided in the descriptions. And if at all you have any queries, you can comment. We will try to answer. See, there are other regional as well as appointment. How the appointment of officers is done? Now, the EPFO examination that you are going to write in May 2021 is also one of the recruitment by the UPSC. Okay, it's also done by the UPSC, and you will also act as an officer in this group. Now we will see Employee Provident Fund Organization. What exactly and how it is constituted? Employees Provident Fund Organizations. EPFO is one of the world's largest social security organization. It is important. It is one of the world's largest social security organizations in terms of client and the volume of financial transaction undertaken. That means it has huge customer base as well as it has the more volume of transactions, that is per day, per year. The transaction is more than any of the social security organization in the world. Therefore, it is the world's largest social security organization. Next, it is a statutory body. This is very important. It is not a constitutional body. Employee Provident Fund Organization is a statutory body. That means it has been backed up by a law. There is a law that is being backed up in order to get the status for EPFO. It is a statutory body. Employees Provident Funds and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1952 is backing that, and this law extends to the whole of India. This law extends to the whole of India. There is no exception of Jammu and Kashmir, but this law extends to whole of India. EPFO comes under the purview of the Ministry of Labour and Employment and came into being in 1951. This date is important. It came into being in 1951. That is, the EPFO came into force in 1951. Now we will see what is the structure of EPFO, Employee Provident Fund Organization. What will be its structure? The Act and all its schemes are administered by a tripartite body called Central Board of Trustees. What is tripartite body? It nothing but it contains 3 members. Tripartite. Fine. And it is called Board of Trustees. It has representatives of government, both central and state, employees and employers. This is important. It has representative from both center as well as the state, and also from employee as well as employers. The board is chaired by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India. The Central Board of Trustees operate 3 schemes. The Central Board of Trustees, that is 3-member body. It is a 3-member body. It operates 3 schemes. Totally it will operate 3 schemes. What are those 3 schemes? The Employees Provident Fund Scheme 1952, we have discussed it. The Employees Pension Scheme of 1995, we have also discussed this scheme. And the employees deposit linked insurance scheme of 1976, we have also discussed this scheme. As on the date, the act extends to 187 classes of establishment. That is, till now or on this date, this EPFO will extend to 187 classes of establishment. Any establishment failing in any of the 187 categories mentioned above and employing more than 19% automatically comes under the purview of EPF and MP Act of 1952. This is very important. If at all any of the establishment is failing in any of the 187 categories and it is employing 19 persons, automatically it should not, there is no need to enroll, but it will automatically comes under the purview of Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1952. Next, now we will see what are the functions of EPFO. EPFO performs the dual role, that means two roles. It will perform two roles of being the administration and overseeing the implementation of the act, and also as a service provider for the covered beneficiaries, which includes both employers and employees, that is members. Hope you understand. That is, it will act as both administrator as well as overseeing the schemes that has been implemented. Next, EPFO assists the Central Board of Trustees. Who are Central Board of Trustees? That is nothing but tripartite body, three-member body, in the administration of Provident Fund scheme, a pension scheme and insurance scheme for registered establishments in India, and includes employees of such establishments and international workers who are covered. See, this point is very important. Even international workers are also covered under EPFO. It is not only the persons who are residing in India, but also the international workers can also be covered in EPF scheme. This point is very important from examination point of view. Next, EPFO's functioning includes enforcement of the act across the country, maintenance of individual accounts, settlement of claims, investment of funds, ensuring prompt pension payment and updating records. These are all the functions. If at all you want to revise, do pause the video and read the sentence again. Okay, I will clear it for you. Do read the sentence again because this will act very important for your examination. You can eliminate the option and get the correct answer. Next, Employee Provident Fund Organization is also the nodal agency, that is main agency, that is implementing agency, nodal agency for implementing bilateral social security agreements with other countries. That is, if at all there is a bilateral understanding between India and Bangladesh, then this social security, what may be the social security aspect, it will be organized or it will be implemented by EPFO, Employee Provident Fund Organization. Next, what would to happen is, if at all you are working in an IT, that is information technology, just imagine in any of the company, and you are in the first company in 2010 and you will switch the second company in 2012. Okay, what would used to happen is that in 2010 you have opened an EPFO account because you have enrolled in EPFO and you have got an account number, right? Account number 1. Again in 2012 you have switched the company, therefore this account number 1 will be closed and your account number 2 will be open. This will lead to the confusion as well as overall accumulation of the amount will become less in your accounts, right? In order to tackle this, the EPFO has came out with universal account number. Universal account number. What is this? Universal account number is a number given to an employee by the Ministry of Employment and Labour under the Government of India who is maintaining PF account. That is, a person who is maintaining Provident Fund account will only get this universal account number, and always this universal account number is mentioned on your salary slips. It It is used to know the information or track information done by his employer regarding his provident fund. That is, what is the present situation, what is the accumulated amount in your PF account, okay, what is the pension amount that has been accumulated in an account. You can see all these details by this universal account number. When an employee joined the new organization, he was assigned with a new PF account after universal account number came into existence. The member of the assembly, that is employee, all his PF account associated with the multiple IDs of different organization at one place. That is, if at all he has worked at 10 places, okay, if at all you have worked at 10 places, then these all 10 places account number is accumulated in only one account number, that is universal account number. So the accumulated amount of 10 employers will get into single account and he will get the whole accumulated amount. And this is the main provisions of this universal account number. Now we can see what are the uses of universal account number. It is a unique number given to an employee which is independent of employers. That is, it may be any of the company, but this account number is independent of that companies and it will be single for each employee. UAN is used to link all the PF account when the employee is switching his company. EPF passbook can be verified by sending SMS. This is not required. You can remember or you can let it go. Okay, there has been an increased transparency when this universal account number has came into existence. So finally we have came to an end, and these are the acts that need to be covered. In the future lecturers, we will be covering many more aspects which are important for the examination point of view. If at all you are new to our channel, please do watch the previous videos because it will be helpful for you in order to gain the marks, and the videos will be interlinking, so watching the previous videos will help you. And request is that please do subscribe to channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification. Thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned.